Hello, this video will help you learn how to perform an experiment with title Study of Working of a Bridge Rectifier with the help of Multisim, a simulator. Before going to Multisim, that is the simulator, we will see the circuit that we are going to construct. We will also see all the formulae which will help us understand the working of bridge rectifier with and without capacitor filter. In my earlier video, I have already explained theory of working of bridge rectifier. Link of that is given in the description box. In one another video, I have explained how to start with the multisim. The link of that is also given in the description box. This is the basic circuit of bridge rectifier that we are going to use. With this circuit, we will use pure sine wave as an AC input signal for our circuit, with which we expect the output to be of this form. This output will have a periodic time of t by 2 when input signal has a periodic time of t. Looking at the waveform that we obtain at the output of bridge rectifier, we can see that this output is not a constant DC voltage. To obtain the DC level of this signal, we will have to know voltage corresponding to peak of this particular signal, which we will denote as Vm. Once Vm is noted, we can calculate DC voltage at the output as 0.636 Vm and RMS value of the time variation at the output as 0.707 Vm. Ripple factor of the time variation at the output is calculated using formula root of Vrms square upon Vdc square minus 1. Knowing the equations for Vdc and Vrms, we can see that the bridge rectifier circuit is expected to give ripple factor equal to 0.486. We are going to see variation in the output DC voltage with respect to load resistance. We will then calculate percentage load regulation using a formula V no load minus V full load upon V full load into 100%. Load voltage, that is DC voltage, measured at the output of bridge rectifier with RL equal to 1 mega ohms, will be considered as no load voltage, that is the load voltage with no load current. That measured with RL equal to 330 ohms will be considered as full load voltage, that is load voltage with maximum load current. We are also going to study the circuit when capacitor is used to filter out ripple signal, that is the unwanted AC signal present at the output of the rectifier, for which we will be connecting capacitor across the load resistance. Having connected capacitor parallel to the load resistance for the same sinusoidal signal at the input, now output will be decided by the charging and discharging paths of the capacitor. So the output voltage for the bridge rectifier with capacitor used as a filter will be of this particular shape. This is the time variation obtained at the output, and so this is nothing but the ripple present at the output. Peak to peak of output voltage is now the peak to peak of the ripple signal, and that will be the difference in the voltage corresponding to the upper and lower peak of this particular signal. We will call the voltage corresponding to upper peak as V0 maximum and that corresponding to lower peak as V0 minimum. Hence, the V0 peak to peak or Vr peak to peak will be V0 maximum minus V0 minimum. DC level of this particular signal will be now given as V0 maximum minus half of the ripple peak to peak. RMS value of this ripple will be calculated using the formula 0.2886 times Vr peak to peak. In this experiment, we are going to study the variation in DC voltage as well as peak to peak of the ripple signal with respect to the change in load resistance. So let us now construct this circuit on multisim and study its working. So here we are on the board of multisim. We need to construct the circuit of bridge rectifier and then study its working with and without capacitor. That means without capacitor as well as with capacitor, we will study the variation in output DC voltage as well as output peak to peak ripple signal with the change in load resistance. Let us first construct the circuit, for which I will first select all the components required to make the circuit. I need 4 diodes, so I will take 4 diodes on the board. Then I need one AC voltage source, one resistor as a load resistance. Now we will start connecting the circuit. The diodes D1 and D2, which are going to be opposite to each other, should be in the same orientation, and they are already in the same orientation. So I will connect one end of this D1 to one end of the AC source. The load resistance I would like to keep in a vertical fashion, so let me rotate this. Now I will connect upper end of this load resistance to the negative end of D1. Now we will turn D3 and D4 to make them appear in the way we want them in the bridge. The junction of AC source and D1 will go to one end of D3, and at that junction positive of D1 is connected, so we should have negative of D3 coming here. So let us turn D3. Now D3 has negative end to upper side, which will connect to the junction of positive end of D1 and the AC source. We will connect D4 in the same orientation as D3. So I am going to turn D4 also. Now we will have negative end of D4 connected to negative end of D1, and that will go to one end of RL, that is denoted as R1 over here. We will have positive end of D3 now coming to positive end of D2, and positive end of D4 connected to negative end of D2. Our bridge is now complete. The corner of the bridge where D1 has its positive end and D3 has its negative end is connected to one end of the source. The opposite corner has positive end of D4 and negative end of D2. That should get connected to other end of the AC source. So I am bringing a wire from other end of AC source to this junction. The junction of D1 and D4, where negative ends of both the diodes are connected, is connected to one end of load resistance. So the other end of load resistance will go to junction of D3 and D2, where both have their positive terminals coming together. So our circuit is ready. We are going to measure output voltage across the load resistance, that is this resistance R1. So we will have to connect a voltmeter over here. I am connecting voltmeter to the upper end of the resistance R1. This voltage has to be measured with respect to the lower end of R1. So I am selecting ground from here and connect it to the lower end of R1. We will also need to observe the input signal. So we will connect a voltmeter to the upper end of AC source, but when we connect this voltmeter here, it will give us signal at this point with respect to ground by default. We want to measure this voltage with respect to other end of AC source, that is this point, and so we'll select voltage reference and connect it at this other end of the source. Now we'll have to go back to this meter, click on it and select its reference by coming here. We can see that by default the reference is shown as ground, which will change to REF1, that is this reference terminal. Before running the simulation, we can keep this board on a split mode so that we can see the waveforms which are appearing on the right hand side with respect to circuit which is there on the left hand side. We will first see that the AC source we have selected is giving us frequency and amplitude as we desire. This is giving us frequency of 1 kHz and amplitude of 1 volt. The frequency here does not matter. We can go ahead with the frequency of 1 kHz. We will select the voltage to be little higher to see the output properly. Even if we go ahead with 1 volt, it will not matter, but I will select this voltage to 5 volts. With this, the input signal will change from minus 5 volts to plus 5 volt. That means it will have a peak to peak amplitude of 10 volts. Now we'll run the simulation. Here now we are on the interactive mode and we will keep it on the interactive mode itself and run the simulation. So let's go to split mode and start the simulation. I'll stop the simulation and have a look at the output waveform. We can see that the signal which is in blue color is an input signal because this voltmeter is in blue color, and the signal which is in green color is the output voltage, that is voltmeter at the output is in green color. To analyze this output clearly, let us go on grapher mode. We can see what are the time and voltage limits selected over here. You can see the time selected is minimum as 247.6 milliseconds and maximum as 249 milliseconds. So we are observing signals from 247.6 milliseconds to 249 milliseconds. The voltage levels selected over here are minimum is minus 6 volts and maximum is plus 6 volts. We can see that the input signal has peak value of almost 5 volts on the upper side and minus 5 volts on the lower side. The output signal has minimum voltage very close to 0 and maximum coming close to 3.616 volts, which shows us that the input voltage is higher in amplitude compared to the output voltage. The difference in these two is how much? This is close to 5 volts and this is close to 3.6. So the difference is very close to 1.4, which is equal to the threshold voltage of two silicon diodes connected in series. That is because the current flowing through the load resistance is coming through two forward bias diodes. We can also observe that during the negative half of the input signal, the output is positive. Having made sure that our circuit is working as a full wave rectifier, now we want to make the measurements where we will be studying voltage regulation, that is the change in output DC voltage with respect to the load resistance, and also we will measure the variation in ripple amplitude, that is peak to peak of ripple signal with respect to load resistance. To make those measurements, now we don't need to see the input signal with respect to the output signal. We want to observe only the output signal, and so we are now removing this voltmeter which was connected across the input source. Let us run the simulation once again. I stop the simulation and come to grapher mode. You can see the peak to peak. Now to measure the peak to peak, we can use two cursors. We are taking cursors along y-axis. So I have selected two cursors. I'll keep C2 on the upper side, coinciding with the upper peaks. Now we can see that the signal which we are having here is only the voltage across the load resistance, and this is changing from 0, almost 0 volts, to some positive level, and so we don't need this part here which is going from 0 to minus 6 volts. So let us change the limits for voltage over here. We'll take this minimum voltage to minus 1 and maximum we can take to 5 volts, as our input signal amplitude is up to 5 volts. Let us run the simulation once again. So here now we are seeing the same waveform. I am saying same because we have not changed anything in our circuit. So it is the same waveform which is stretched along y-axis. So we are keeping C2 touching the upper peaks and C1 touching the lower peaks. Here we can see voltage corresponding to the cursor C1, and that is 1.49 millivolts, which is very small, and that corresponding to cursor 2, that is the upper peaks of this particular level, which we will note down as Vm, and that is equal to 3.6230 volts. The difference in the voltage levels at cursor 2 and that at cursor 1 is the peak to peak of this particular signal, and that is given here directly as delta y equal to 3.6215 volts. So we can note down Vm, that is the voltage corresponding to cursor 2, and V0 peak to peak as given here by notation delta y. We have obtained this output for load resistance equal to 1 kilo ohms. We want to consider the no load and full load conditions, where no load condition is with no load current and that is with maximum load resistance, and we are not going to keep this then to infinity, but the maximum value we are going to take here is 1 mega ohms. So let me select this as 1 mega ohms. So with the maximum load resistance, the load current is minimum, and so now we are going to see the output signal which is with V no load condition. So let's learn the simulation. We'll come to Grapher to see the output signal. We can see that the peak value has gone up. So we'll have to shift the C2 cursor touching the peaks once again. We'll take it here so that now we can get Vm, which is a different value than earlier, and that is 3.9717 volt, and the peak to peak is 3.9702 volts. Okay, so here we can see that the Vm has increased with increase in load resistance. That shows that DC voltage, which is Vm into 0.636, has increased with increase in load resistance. We will now come to a full load condition. That means we will select minimum value of load resistance, which will give us maximum load current, which we will then consider as full load condition. So we will take this as 330 ohms. Run the simulation and see the output waveform. So you can notice that the peak level, that is this value here, has come down, it's decreased. So we'll bring the C2 cursor touching the upper peaks here, so that the voltage given here corresponding to cursor 2 now gives us new value of Vm, and that is 3.5782, and here we get peak to peak of this signal as 3.5768. So just by noting the values of Vm, for different values of load resistances, we can see how the DC level as well as the peak to peak of this ripple is changing with load resistance. Also noting down the values of Vm corresponding to two extreme values of RL, we are getting the V no load and V full load values. So we can find out the percentage load regulation. Let us now come back to our circuit and we will put capacitor to filter out the ripple, and for that capacitor should be connected parallel to the load resistance. So let us select one capacitor and connect it parallel to the load resistance. When we select a capacitor, by default it has a value of 1 microfarad. Right now I am not going to change this value, we will keep it as it is and see what waveform we are getting at the output. So let us run the simulation. So what do we observe? There is little change in the upper peak value, but there is lot of change in the lower peak value. Here the change in upper peak value is very little because we have not changed the load resistance. The position of C2 over here is showing us peak value of the output signal with same load resistance without capacitor. Now we have not changed the load resistance, so that value has not changed much, but we can see that lower peak value now is raised up. This is because this particular path, let me expand this so that you can see it clearly. So when we see the output changing from lower peak to upper peak, that is the charging path of the capacitor, and when it is coming from upper peak to lower peak, it is discharging path of the capacitor. This here tells us that the capacitor has not discharged fully. By the time the capacitor discharged to this particular level, current through the load resistance had already started increasing, and so at this point the RL into IRL value match with the voltage across the capacitor, from where onwards capacitor starts charging once again. Now we can measure the voltage corresponding to upper peak we call as V0 maximum, and that corresponding to lower peak will be called as V0 minimum. These two voltages are given here. The voltage corresponding to cursor 1 is 1.4769 volts and that corresponding to cursor 2 is 3.5693 volts. Here again we are getting peak to peak of this ripple signal, that is given by delta Y. Let us now change the resistance again to the maximum value that we have decided, that is for V no load condition, and that is 1 mega ohms. We will run the simulation and see the output. Can you see something? Here, this line here is the output voltage. The variation in which we just can't observe because its peak to peak is too small to be observed on this scale of -1 volt to 5 volts. We will have to change the maximum and minimum levels of the voltage. Let us change the maximum value to 4 volts. We can see that we have to raise the minimum voltage level. So let us bring it to 3.5. Let us run the simulation and observe the output. Can you see it? It is still too small to observe. So we will raise the minimum voltage to 3.8 and we will bring the maximum voltage down to 3.9. Let us run the simulation once again, and now we can see the output waveform clearly. If required, you can change the limits once again. So let me take the lower limit to 3.83 and upper limit to 3.86. Run the simulation once again, and now you can observe it clearly. Let's bring C2 touching the upper peaks and C1 touching the lower peaks. So we can see that the lower peaks are going up, being raised. That means capacitor is discharging up to a smaller level, and so the DC voltage is raised, which is average of this whole signal, and the peak to peak, that is difference in the voltage corresponding to upper peak and lower peak, has reduced. We'll select some resistance between 330 ohms and 1 mega ohms. So we'll take this to say 1K or say 5K. So I've taken RL as 5 kilo ohms. We'll again run the simulation and come back to grapher mode. Can you see the output anywhere? No. Why? Because we have selected very small range of the voltage that you can observe on the y-axis. It is from 3.83 to 3.86, and actual voltage must be going beyond this level. To find out whether it has gone above this level or below this level, we will have to select the range in such a way that we can check it up to say 2 volts on the lower side to 4 volts on the upper side. Run the simulation once again and check the actual level. So actual level is above 3.25 and below 3.75. You can measure the voltages corresponding to the upper and lower peaks over here, or you can further change the voltage levels. So this way we can see that now the peak to peak of ripple has increased with respect to what it was with RL equal to 1 meg. So when we decrease RL, the peak to peak of ripple increases, and also you can see the DC levels, the DC voltage, it has decreased with decreasing the load resistance. Here we have input signal frequency of 1 kilohertz. That means the periodic time of this is 1 millisecond, whereas the discharging time constant of the capacitor, which is product of RL and C, that is 5 milliseconds. So the discharging time constant is 5 times the periodic time of input signal. So capacitor is discharging at a rate which is slower than the rate at which the input voltage is changing. Now we'll change this capacitor. Let us make this discharging time further higher so that capacitor discharges further slower. So instead of 1 microfarad, let's take this as 10 microfarad. For the same value of RL and the input frequency, we will observe the output once again. This is the output we have observed for 1 microfarad capacitor. Here the peak to peak is 274 millivolts. Let us run the simulation with capacitor as 10 microfarad. Can you see now what happened? Now the ripple amplitude has decreased because we have increased the capacitor value 10 times. So capacitor is going to discharge 10 times slower, and so the change in voltage across the capacitor for the same input signal frequency is now less, and so the peak to peak of ripple has reduced. So having selected a frequency, you can decide the value of capacitor so that the discharging time constant is much larger than the periodic time of the input signal. Now we know that when we use bridge rectifier in some appliances, for example charger of a cell phone, there We plug this charger to the AC mains. Then this AC mains signal is passed through a transformer, which is a step down transformer, and the voltage at the secondary of the transformer is given to the rectifier. Signal across the secondary of the transformer will have same frequency as that at its primary, which is nothing but AC mains. That means the signal frequency here should be 50 Hz. So let us try with this as 50 Hz. We are now giving AC input signal of 50 Hz and not changing the capacitor or RL. Periodic time of the input signal is 20 milliseconds and the discharging time of this capacitor is 50 milliseconds, which is little greater than the periodic time of the input signal. So let's run the simulation and see the difference in the output signal. What do you see now? You can see that the capacitor is discharging to a larger level compared to the earlier one, and so the peak to peak of ripple has increased. So we have to remember that knowing the input signal frequency, we have to adjust the value of C so that the discharging time constant is much larger than the input signal periodic time. So here with this input signal periodic time of 20 milliseconds, if I want to increase the discharging time constant over here, let me increase this capacitor value to 100 microfarad and observe the output once again. Right? Now we have reduced the peak to peak of ripple. I have brought them closer by changing the scale on time axis. Now you can see it clearly. So this is how we can select the value of capacitor knowing the frequency of the input signal. I am sure with this you have understood how to study the variation in DC voltage as well as the ripple signal amplitude at the output of bridge rectifier with respect to the change in its load resistance. Thank you.